As I was cooking my breakfast this morning, I was listening to one of my favorite personal finance channels on YouTube, and the host made the comment that cryptocurrencies are popular because millennial investors are lazy. And as a millennial and a cryptocurrency investor, this really hit me where it hurts because I don't consider myself lazy. And the more I thought about this, I realized that far from being lazy, there are many legitimate reasons that millennials in particular have been pushed into cryptocurrencies. It's an interesting topic, and it's something I'd like to discuss in today's video. Hey everyone, and welcome back. This is the Part-Time Economist, and in today's video, I want to address this notion that cryptocurrencies are popular because millennial investors are too lazy to build a business from the ground up like previous generations did. Now, before we start the video, I do have to give my standard disclaimers. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to invest in cryptocurrency. I'm not telling you not to invest in cryptocurrency. This is also not an attack against another channel. Like I said, it's one of my favorite channels. The host does a great job teaching people how to develop a financial mindset. But with that being said, I do think there's still things I can disagree with. And I think this idea of millennials being lazy and just not wanting to do the hard work is completely wrong. Rather, I think there are several key milestones and events in our lives that have convinced us that the existing system might not serve our needs, and many millennials are looking for alternatives. And that's what I want to talk about in today's video. So number one, we need to understand who are the millennials in general. So millennials are generally born between 1981 and 1996. The dates are going to be important, as we will find out, but just as important, millennials have been described as the first global generation and the first generation that grew up in the internet age. They have a lot of familiarity with the internet, mobile devices, and social media, and they are sometimes called digital natives. So even right there, we see that millennials, we grew up surrounded by technology. So we're going to be more open to technology in general, right? Someone else that they've only been used to paper currency or gold coins in their hand, it's going to be harder for them to accept a digital form of money. So we're already going to be more open to that in general, but what I think is even more important than that is what we've been through as a generation. So if you look at this, it says millennials across the world have suffered significant economic disruption since starting their working lives. Many faced high levels of youth unemployment during their early years in the labor market in the wake of the Great Recession, and suffered another recession in 2020 due to the illness that we do not mention. So with that being said, I think this is a big reason why millennials get pushed into cryptocurrencies, because think about it this way. You're growing up, right? And you see perhaps your grandparents, right? In many cases, people's grandparents went to high school and they became electricians, or they worked in a factory, or in some cases, they might not have even finished high school. And you're growing up, you see grandma and grandpa, they're retired by now. They're living in some nice home. They've got their own car, and you're saying, gee, they got here with a high school diploma. And then you look at your parents and you say, well, now my parents, they did have to do some college, but they've owned their own home. They've got some cars. We can go on vacations every now and then. And you're saying, you know what? They had a good life. Yeah, my grandparents, they didn't have to do as much college. My parents had to do some. So if I want this, I know I'm going to have to go to college. And society told you, you need to go to college. So what did you do? You paid for college. Now I say paid. I'm speaking from a U.S. perspective because college is not free for us. So you had to pay one way or another. You paid. Maybe you took student loans. Maybe you worked a job. Maybe you got a scholarship. And this is a point that I will defend. Getting a scholarship is not free college. Getting a scholarship, if you're an athlete, your entire high school, and perhaps even before high school, you were practicing nonstop. If you got an academic scholarship like I did, your entire high school, your entire college, you were not going out and partying. You were studying, because whether you're working at a job or trying to get perfect grades, you're still paying for your school. And then lastly, you might have joined the military. You might have paid for your school in that way, but you paid one way or another. And you're saying, you know what? I need to do this. It's an investment. It's not fun, but I'm going to pay for school. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to have a great life like my parents, my grandparents did. Well, wouldn't you know it, but as soon as you graduate college, you have got this 2008 recession waiting for you, and you've got massive unemployment. Home prices are falling. Many people are losing their homes. Maybe you were a millennial that graduated in like '06. You got this house, you started working, you said, hey, I have this good job. And then whoops, the job goes away. Whoops, the house goes away. Or maybe on the flip side, you graduated, like I did, a little bit after the Great Recession, and you just can't even get a job in the first place, right? I remember like graduating top of my class, economics, like handing out resumes and just no answers, right? So regardless of how it happened, you took on some kind of expense, right? Whether you served in the military, whether you studied, whether you took out loans, you paid for your college with this assumption that it was going to create a great life for you. And 2008 kind of shook that belief for a lot of people. Well, no worries. You're moving forward. You say, hey, we got back on track, 2014, 2015, things are starting to go better. And then what happens 2019, 2020, 21? Boom, we get shut down. We get, again, massive layoffs. We get all of these things with the illness, right? And again, just like this Wikipedia article talks about, it's like one hit after another for us. So I don't want to make this sound like I'm complaining, but I think it's important to understand, what does this do? What does this teach millennials? It teaches them that the things they were told about how the economy works and what they need to do to be successful, they can't count on. In some cases, it might work, right? There's probably lots of people that did go to college that did get a great job, but there's many people that it did not work out for. So that idea is still in their head when they think about investing, right? So took on all these loans for college. It didn't work out, right? You said I was going to have a good career. Now it got shut down. So let's think how this could, because I want to bring this back to cryptocurrencies. Now, why does this have anything to do with cryptocurrencies? Well, if we think about investing, right? Let's say we want to just start a business like we did in the old days, right? Well, how much does it actually cost to start a business? According to this article, it's between $30,000 and $40,000 for your initial startup costs. Now, if we look at this article here, we see that most millennials have $8,000 net worth, is delaying life milestones because of student loan debt, and still relies on their parents for money. So think about this outlay of cash, we'll call it $40,000 to start a business. You have an $8,000 net worth. You're having to wager 5 times your net worth to start up a business. And you're thinking, well, this is the path to financial security and freedom. I need to do it. And then you say, well, now wait a minute. Didn't they tell me that a college degree was the path to financial success? And I'm still paying loans on that. So if I take out a massive loan to start up a business, what guarantee do I have that it's just not going to be another college 2.0, that it's another thing they're trying to get me to do and it doesn't work out? So even if it does work out, let's suppose it does work out. Let's suppose I take my bets, I do my $40,000 investment. What's the ROI that I'm going to get from that business? Well, according to a quick Google search, it's somewhere between 4 and 30%, right? So yes, it's a massive risk, but you might get some returns on it. Now, let's think about the millennial mindset. They've seen all these things not work out. They're still paying down these loans from the other thing that people told them they needed to do to be financially successful. And they realize that even if their business is successful, it's going to be a modest return, right? Somewhere between 4 and 30% based off that data. Now, let's flip things around and see the appeal of cryptocurrency. Consider Dogecoin, right? That's the meme coin. That's the kind of like the one that everyone talks about. So we can see back in 2020, we're trading around 22 cents. We get up to a high of 64 cents. Sorry, 0.2 cents. We get up to a high of 64 cents. So let's just do a quick percentage change here. We've got going from 0.002 to 0.64. That is a 31,900% change. If we drop off the zeros, that is a 319x on your investment. So let's think about it this way. I'm a millennial. They're telling me to start a business. That's going to cost me $40,000 where I might make 10%. Or I can invest in this Dogecoin or Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, right? Don't think about the specific coin. Think about the concept. I can invest in this Dogecoin and I'm going to get a 319 times increase. All right. Well, number one, I don't have $40,000. So starting a business is out of place for me. But even if I can scrape up $100, $100 times 319 times, that's going to be, let's move our decimals. That is going to be like $31,000, right? Let's do my math to make sure everything sounds right, because I don't want to be trying to prove a point and then it doesn't make sense. So 319 times increase times $100, that's $31,900. It's infinitely easier to scrape up $100, right, than it is to scrape up the $40,000 that you need to start that business. And on top of that, your returns from a cryptocurrency investment. Many millennials are looking at this and saying, why would I even bother with a business? I can do $100 into this crypto, 100 into that one, 100 into that one, and one of them's going to pay off, right? So again, this isn't telling you to invest in cryptocurrency, obviously, not giving you advice. But what I'm saying is you can see the appeal here, right? The appeal, and you can see, of course, the Dogecoin millionaire here. The appeal is that, number one, I can't afford to get a traditional business. Number two, yeah, that is a lot of work. It's a lot of risk. And for all that, I'm going to get 10% return, or I can throw $50 into Dogecoin. I can throw $100 into Ethereum, and I'm going to be set, right? So the idea, and this is just my opinion, of course, complete speculation, but I think what millennials have been through, they've seen that all these traditional things, the whole work hard, go to college, get a job, doesn't necessarily equate with success. So when they're presented with this opportunity of taking on massive loans, having to invest, exposing themselves to liability for starting this business, they're saying, hey, it didn't work out in the past. I don't know that it's going to work out now. I would rather have a lower commitment, throw some money into cryptocurrency, and maybe I strike it rich, right? Not calling cryptocurrency gambling, not saying it's a lottery, but it's kind of this idea of you can have a small chance at a massive reward or an okay chance at an okay reward. And most people are saying, well, my life right now is kind of just, it's going along, having the stress of a business, having additional loans. That's not going to really improve my life in a major way, right? So it's like, well, why would I do all this for a kind of incremental improvement? But yes, it's a small chance that Dogecoin goes to the moon. Yes, it's a small chance that Bitcoin does this, but if it does, that's actually meaningful. That's actually life-changing. So millennials are saying, we're not going to do all this work. We're not going to invest. We're not going to take on more debt for something that, even if it does work out, isn't really going to change in a significant way. Let's go to the moon, right? Let's do these things. And again, like I said, just my opinion, but I thought it was important to make this video because I know since we've been growing up, they always said, oh, millennials, you're lazy. You've got your avocado toast and your Starbucks, right? And I know it's a common theme. But what I would suggest is that millennials didn't just decide to become lazy, right? There were several factors that pushed them into saying, hey, this traditional system isn't necessarily working for us. Number one, we're more open to digital in general because we've been brought up as digital natives. But number two, we need more opportunities. We need something different because we've tried these other things and they're not working. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Why do you think millennials in particular are so interested in cryptocurrencies? Is it because they're digital? Is it because they've given up on the traditional system? Or is it, like this host said, is it just that they're lazy and they don't want to do the work? So as always, I do appreciate you watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.